305.
I got the wrong. But let me just say real quick. Unlike the one-day events, 7 days, it's in Watsonville for 3 days. It came here to operate between Santa Cruz and Capitola, hourly service, and it was actually a living example of daily public rail transit today, happening on this rail line. So if anyone tells you that it can't be done, they'll just tell them I just did it. What are you talking about? And thank you, RTC, and thank you for the vision of all of our leaders. Now, my last thing is Mr. Kevin Hill was one of the Roaring Camp operators who, on Saturday night after the first day of public service in Watsonville, after his day of operating this vehicle, this very vehicle, he wrote to me in a Facebook thing. Hey man, I had a real experience on my way home today. I went to the 7-Eleven in Watsonville to pick up a few copies of today's Sentinel because we're in it on the front page, and when I set the papers on the counter, the cashier pointed to the picture of Tiggy, the tramp, on the front page and got excited. Had his co-worker come over and said something in Spanish to her. I explained that it was me running it, and he asked if it was going to be permanent. I explained that we hoped so in the not-so-distant future. He said he doesn't own a car, and that would allow him access to higher-paying jobs in Santa Cruz. And he says, that's what this thing is all about. I just thought I'd share that with you. I thought it was pretty amazing because the very point we're trying to get across came to life in front of my eyes.
I'm here with a group called Equity Transit. We're a new organization here in this community, bringing the conversation and awareness of transit equity to the community. We have some conversation. Do you have a question? Okay, no problem. So, this important conversation about equity is something that Barry's talking about. We know that we have folks that live in Watsonville that have never been able to make it to the beach. We know there's families in Watsonville that have only one car or maybe no car at all. And because they do not have access to equitable transportation, that means they don't have access to equitable opportunities. And if we want a powerful community, we need to support equitable public rail transportation here. A few tidbits. The National Campaign for Transit Justice and the American Public Transportation Association recognizes that we have a transportation equity crisis on a national scale. And recent reports stress that the benefits of a robust public transportation system serve all Americans and the communities in which we live. The high costs of housing and automobile ownership often create barriers for people of all but the highest income levels. And our current transportation systems perpetuate racial and income inequality, limit economic opportunity, hasten catastrophic climate change, and exacerbate chronic disease, all which impacts our underserved communities the hardest. So Equity Transit is working with us to bring this awareness to the community. Hit them up, hit me up for questions afterwards. I've got some stickers, and we'll have our website up and running in about a week. Studies show that for every dollar that we invest into this kind of public transportation, it actually boosts our economy by $4. So it's actually important to all of us. And I just want to share with you, the other day we had the labor train. I call it the labor train. It was all the labor communities. Every single one of these organizations wants this train because they know how important it is, not just for them to get to work, which is so important, it's also important to bring jobs. So we know that for every $1 billion that we invest into this kind of public transportation system, it